just want to try something out. Perfect. I haven't spoken publicly in a very, very, very long time. Um, so, and I don't do it a lot anymore just because I haven't found a chance to ever really share a story. Um, and today, I'm here to really share a raw and truthful story with you. I'm not here to motivate anyone. I just want to share my story, okay? And when I was thinking of what I should call this talk, I decided to call it zero point 0.4. Now, before I start and before I tell you what zero point 0.4 means, I want to tell you two things. The first one, this is something I wholeheartedly believe in. For the past 10, 11 years, I believe in the saying, it is what it is. If I was today to go and have a horrible situation happen to me, I would come out of it and just be like, it is what it is, okay? The second one is I believe my life, and I believe a lot of your lives are a chessboard. Anyone here to play chess? Raise your hand. Fantastic. So, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share my story, but in the form of it being a chessboard in the way I viewed it for the past 15, 16 years. Okay? So, join me on this journey. Now, I learned about chess when I was 6, 7 years old. If I close my eyes right now and I say the word chess, I remember it exactly how it was. Um, do you guys remember that type of chessboard? You do? Great. I had an older version of it. They would remember it. The cardboard one, you flip it, Ludo, snakes and ladder on the side, no magnetic locks. I was 6 years old. My mom comes back home. She sits me down. She says, let's go play a game. She opens a board. She teaches me chess. She was horrible in chess, just so you know. But what she was really good at was Ludo and snakes and ladders. And what I got out of this was she taught me what each chess piece meant in a game. She told me this is what the pawn does, this is what a bishop does, this is what a rook does, this is what a king does, this is what a queen does. And then we moved on to playing Ludo and snakes and ladders, and she won every game. We moved on. Okay? Now, I know for a fact, and I'm certain about this, and if you know the people that I know, they will tell you he's speaking the truth. I know that to date, I have played 4 pieces of chess in my life, and I was 4 of them at one point or another. I have definitely been a pawn, I have definitely been a knight, I have definitely been a bishop, and I have definitely been a rook. The last two, another time. Maybe our next TEDx talk, we come and we tell you about the king and the queen and so on. Okay? So 4 out of 6. And today we're gonna go into the journey of talking about those 4 out of 6. I want to start with the pawn, e4. First move I do in a chess game, because that's the first thing you can do. Now, people usually think the chess is that a pawn is usually the smallest one on the table. But in reality, a pawn is the only piece on a chessboard that when it reaches the end of the other side, it can switch. It can become a rook, it can become a bishop, it can become a knight, it can queen too, except a king, right? So the smallest piece on the board, but the one that can become anything if it goes the farthest. Now, this to me was university. Really fun time. So join me on that. I thought I graduated out of high school, came in university. I thought I was the biggest one there. Thought I knew everything. Turns out, no, that really was not what I was. Okay? I tried going for law, didn't work out. I tried going for accounting, didn't work out. I tried going for business, didn't work out. It was a lot of 1 step forward, crash and burn. 2 steps forward, crash and burn. Okay? Until I ended up in a marketing class. And how can I explain to you what a marketing class was? Um, Learning the subtle art of understanding people is fascinating. If you guys have ever gone into a psychology class, another form of psychology is marketing. You don't just need to do cool campaigns, but you really need to understand the audience you're talking to. So once I understood marketing was my thing, I really understood all those crazy thoughts I had in accounting class looking at a balance sheets. I was like, this does not make sense. But when I was in a marketing class and I was thinking all of those out of the box thoughts, it all made sense to me. Okay? So now remember, in chess, a pawn always moves forward until it's taken out. Now, the night, there was another part in my life where I became a knight. And what I need you to know, a knight doesn't go around problems. They do two things. It's either that way, that way, that way, etc. They either go through them or they go around or they jump over them in a nutshell. And this part of my life was graduation. Now, this is another story. I graduated, went back home, slept, woke up to, said, "Who is it?" It's my dad at the door. Wakes me up, tells me, "Go shower, go wear a suit." I thought I was just going to like a meeting with him, the regular day, fun day, usual stuff. Puts me in the car, takes me to a printer shop, tells me, "Go print 100 CVs." I went, printed out 100 CVs, bought a folder for a dirham, went in the car. He drove me all the way to Media City in the middle of summer, told me, "Open the door, go find a job." Shocked. I was like, "What do you mean, go find a job? Like, people do this email, Hotmail, Yahoo, MSN, the whole nine yards." And I stepped out, went into the job market of Dubai Media City. And for my first day, I spent half of it at a juice bar. I was chilling. I was drinking a drink. I was having myself a little nice mango drink. But what I was seeing around me kind of excited me, it enticed me. I saw people with cool Nikes, with cool haircuts, wearing cool clothes. Everyone's conversating. They're all having a really interesting conversation, etc. And I got interested and I said, "Let me go see what this is about." So I spent the second half of my day walking around, knocking on doors, saying, "Hi, my name is Faris. Here's CV. Walk out." Same thing. Go, go, go. The whole half of my day. And what I really remember that day was how it didn't go the way I was thinking it would go. But then I did the same thing the second day. Woke me up, suit up, and I was wearing the exact same suit. No, nothing different. Just same suit, same clothes, just going to the place, go, knock on a door, give my CV. My second day was a lot worse because what people were telling me hit me, it made me feel very different. What I was told was the industry's crashing. Um, we're not hiring. You have no experience. Blah 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 blah. And I went back that day in my car, in my dad's car, and I told him, "Dad, like, I don't think I'm going to get hired. I think maybe like I should just go do my master's or something." And all he said to me, and I remember this vividly, was, "Why should they hire you?" That was just that one point. And we kept on driving. He played some Michael Jackson, and we kept on moving on. I ended up, you like that, good. I ended up at home that night, talked to myself, woke up the next morning, but I said, this time, I think it's going to be a different day. Same process. Same suit, printed 100 CVs, went back to Dubai Media City. He dropped me off in the middle of the summer, told me, "Good luck." I walked around. But this time, I was a little bit more planned with it. I would go into the office, into a building, I would look at the directory, I would Google every company, I would try and know who they are, what they do. Does it interest me? Does it not interest me? I would move on. Until I stumbled upon a building called MCN. It's in Barsha Heights or Ticon Group or Dubai Media City, wherever you guys know it as. Walked into that building, Googled the company, and there was a really interesting company I found. I loved the work they were doing, and I was like, maybe this is something I could do one day. I went, and the first thing I had to figure out was, how do I get around the security? How do I get into that elevator? Because beep, beep, figured it out regardless. Walked into the building, went into the elevator, went up to the reception, spoke to the receptionist, told her, "Hey, my name is Faris. I'm here, I'm looking for a job, blah, 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 blah." And she said, "Okay, interesting." She's like, "Give me your CV." I told her, "No, I really want to talk to someone with HR." Because that PTSD was hitting me of what yesterday looked like. And she said, "Okay." And she called me a lady. The lady came to me. She said, "Hey, yeah, I know you're looking for a job or whatever." She's like, "You can give me your CV." And I looked at her and I said, "Look, this CV has nothing on it, zero experience. But here's what I can offer you. I want to learn, I'm fresh, and I don't want to get paid for it." And she looked at me and she said, "Why don't you come inside and let's have a sit?" We sat down, we spoke, we had a very transparent and honest conversation. And that day, 4 p.m., this dropped in my email. Full list telling me, hey, Faris, really excited. We want you to come do an internship. Regardless, it was an internship. But to me, you guys are just looking at the inbox. If you saw how many people this got forwarded to right after I got it, I was so proud of myself, right? Now, that is still a story of where I still didn't become a knight until one day I was driving my car and I got a call. A guy calls me on my telephone and he says, hey, Faris, this is my name. We met 6 months ago. You seemed completely beat when we met. Are you interested in coming in for a meeting? And I said, yes, sure. I'll see you at 1 p.m. I ended up the call and I looked at the police officer and I said, blood right here. And he was like, you're in an accident. What can we do? And I was in a full up, pile up car on Sharik Sheikh Zayed, 9 a.m. in the morning, 10 cars in front of me, 10 cars behind me. I'm in an accident. And I have an interview at 1 p.m. I have no car, I have nowhere to go. I have bandage on my head, blood on my head, stitches on my head that I have to go figure out. Went to the hospital, got myself some stitches, got myself a bandage, went to the police station, fought for everything to not take the claim that it was my fault of that whole accident, and figured out a car, went to that interview at 1 p.m., suited with a whole bandage on my head. I would love to show you all the picture here today. However, it's a bit graphic, so we'll avoid that. Ended up in the meeting, knocked the door, sat down. He looked at me, and he said, what's all of that about? I told him, and I said, I just went in an accident this morning. It was a bad accident, blah, blah, blah. And he said, but you still came? And I said, yes, I really wanted to meet, and I really wanted to have this conversation with you. And we got into talking, and he asked me about what I was doing, etc. And I told him I'm currently doing an internship at this place, this place, this place. And he told me, okay, are you interested in another internship? And I told him, no, I'm interested in a full-time job. I think I'm ready for that. And he said, okay. He said, Faris, I need from you two things if you are going to work with me. One, I want you to forget everything you've learned. That kind of shook me because it said, everything I've learned, I've just spent 6 months trying to learn the world of PR and how to speak to clients and the whole 9 yards. And he said, two, don't hold back. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but the person I was talking to was someone that led Ogilvy for the past, in that time, 20 years. He was a Golden Ad Linux, Gold Linux winner. He's won a lot of awards. He used to manage the whole MENA region and the India region, etc. when it came to advertising. So it meant a lot hearing this from him because the learning and the journey that I was going to go through was three things. One, I was going to enter into a realm of storytelling. Two, I was going to always look at the person. And three, I was always going to focus on understanding the data. And that is really when life got really fun for me. I went from what I knew I was as a pawn to really becoming a knight. I worked on fun ads. I won a Gold Linux Campaign Award. I worked at music, concerts. I worked with J. Cole. I worked with Serena Williams. I worked with a lot of different people throughout just those set of years. And now I want to move on to the bishop part. And a bishop, as you know, this way, that way, that way, that way, in case you don't know. It moves diagonally. And this is the part where I jumped from knowing what I knew to a complete unknown. And I decided to leave the world I knew to a world that I know nothing about, entrepreneurship and innovation. I went into a world where I did not know how to build a business. I didn't know how to pitch a business. I didn't know what a business model meant, what a value proposition canvas meant, what customer interviews were, the whole 9 yards. I felt like I was a pawn again. But what I did know was two things that I learned from the advertising world. One, listen. And two, think out the box. Those two things, I still have them into my pocket till this day. So for the next couple of months, 4 months, all I did was sit down with people. I sat down with someone building something for the ocean, and I'm hearing what they're saying, and I'm like, wow, so amazing. I sat down with someone that was building a VR startup for the aviation world and how they could teach people when they're in aviation school, etc. All I did was just sit. And one thing I realized from founders was the same way I would embody it is what it is, they embodied it too. Because every day was a new fire. Every day was different to them. They would walk 2 steps and it would be completely new for them. Every day was a new risk, but it was really exciting for them. And I asked myself, how is it that all these people are founders, but they're also lost? And from my discussions with them, what I really understood is that there was one question that was never answered for them, which is what's next? So I decided to take it upon myself and I looked at it as if it was a treasure map, and where whenever you reach a location in a treasure map, something opens up. And I said, I want to help these people kind of figure out what it is. So for the next 2 months, I spent time studying, teaching myself all the unknowns that I didn't know, and all the ways that I could teach and help people on how to build a startup. Once I did that, I took it up the ranks of the corporate world and I took it up to my boss. My boss took it up to my CEO, got approved. And now, once that happened, this is where we get to the other exciting part, is I told him we need to go and like get someone hired so that they can kind of give these sessions out or these programs. Because what I built was a course that people could go and study and people could come and attend and hear what you're saying, etc., and move on from there and take your learning. And he said, "Yeah, you do it." And I was like, "What? I'm not going to do it. I've never publicly spoken in my life." And he said, "No." And we went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then he agreed. He said, "Okay, I'll do it." I said, "Okay, great." So for the next month, we went ahead and announced the program. Um, I sat down with him once a week, and we went through the program itself and the content, etc. And keep in mind, this was also a very knowledgeable person and so on. And then we arrived at the day of the boot camp or the course. It was a 3-day event. It was a weekend. Um, and 10 minutes before the session, he comes to me and he looks at me and he says, "Hey, man, I'm not giving it. You're giving it. I'm out. I trust you." I was panicking. I was shaky. I was like, "No way. No way I'm doing this. I can't go ahead and publicly speak to people, etc." And I looked at the room. It was 25 people. One, I was disappointed with myself for building something that only had 25 people coming, which was horrible. Two, I had to go and publicly speak in front of people that I've never met in my life. I was accustomed to 3 people in a meeting room, open up a presentation, pitch your 3 slides about whatever you built in your brief, and then move on. And I've been speaking to them for months. Turned out I had to speak in front of 25 people. But I was at a position where I knew if I didn't do it, he wouldn't do it, because it was an amazing teaching moment for any manager to do. You gotta sometimes go swim in the deep end. And I said, "Okay, I'll go do it." I went, did a little prayer, came back, went, sat, started the session, started speaking, etc. 3-day weekend finished. I finished my session. Went fantastic. People stayed all 3 days. And then we moved from 25 sessions, and I did it again, and we went to 50. We went from 50, and we went to 100. We went from 100 to 200. We went from 200 to 300, and the number kept growing. And just that year, 100 plus times publicly speaking. If you see, that's me all the way there at the end holding the mic, just like I am right now. And it wasn't just that I was speaking, but it was also that I was really making a difference for an ecosystem. Because I was helping all those founders that I would listen to, how they were lost and how they were just trying to figuring out stuff, etc. It was really, um, it really felt home for me. Now we move on to the rook. And whoever plays chess here probably knows that the rook should always be used to attack. But I view the rook in a different way. I think the rook is meant to protect, if anything. And this to me was when I became a manager. I knew nothing about it. I just went into it. I was moving at 110 speed, and people always had to just catch up with me. I was doing 101 things, never pausing, and never caring about who I was doing it with. It was always go, 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 no pause. Until one day, someone called me from my team and was crying, telling me how instead of being a mentor, I was managing. Instead of um, asking, I was taking. Um, Instead of saying, let's do this, I was saying, do it. And that's kind of when it spawned on me that the pawn in me would be so disappointed in me. Okay? And that day, that night, I decided something's got to give here. Okay? Something's got to change. And when I looked back at my life and I looked at me becoming a rook in this whole situation, I realized that when I was a pawn, someone was a rook for me. When I was a bishop, someone was a rook for me. When I was a knight, someone was a rook for me. All I remember was the effort people put into really helping me get to the next point that I wasn't giving back. So I decided, I said, we're human, we matter, if anything. Instead of discouraging, I'm going to inspire. Instead of managing, I'm going to mentor and completely change the way I view things. Now, like I said, there's two pieces left. Okay? I won't share it now. Next time we're in a room that's fully read, we enter into our next discussion on what the king and the queen are. But one thing I do want to share to all the young people in this room, if you do feel like you're losing your game or you're losing your chess piece, don't beat yourself up too much. Just remember, a pawn can go all the way to the end of the board, and once they reach, they can become anything they want to be. But also, I want you to remember two things. It is perfect. And two, that the person standing in front of you here, at one point in time, had a GPA of zero point 0.4 in university. Thank you, guys.